Hello and welcome to the 49ers First and 10 podcast presented by Cisco. 10 minutes of the most up-to-date 49ers news first thing in the morning. I'm your host, Brianna McDonald, and joining me today is 49ers team reporter Lindsay Polares and special guest Kansas City Chiefs reporter Matt McMullen. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Yeah, glad to be with you guys. Excited for the game on Sunday.
We have an exciting Super Bowl 58 rematch just around the corner. But first, let's dive into the latest injury updates. So, Lindsay, how are key injured players, particularly Juwan Jennings and Jordan Mason, progressing after another day of practice?
Yeah, so those are two players that we definitely have been keeping an eye on throughout the weeks. When it comes to Juwan Jennings, we've heard from Kyle Shanahan on KMBR on Thursday. He is in jeopardy of not playing against the Chiefs. He's now got 2 straight days of not participating in practice. Little bit of a different story for Jordan Mason. He's been in a blue non-contact jersey for the past 2 days of practice, but has been out there working out with the team. And we also heard Shanahan say that this is something, the AC joint sprain in the shoulder is something that he's dealt with. It sounds like he's headed in a positive direction, of course. We're going to hear the official injury report later today. Other positive updates, I would say, are for defensive tackle Malik Collins, who didn't practice Wednesday, was a limited participant on Thursday. Again, that doesn't mean anything in particular other than he took a step in the right direction. Also keep an eye on the kicker situation. It is possible that Anders Carlson will be elevated for the Chiefs game, depending on how Matthew Wright's situation pans out towards the end of the week.
All right, Faithful, we'll keep you posted there. And Matt, who should we keep an eye on regarding injuries for the Chiefs?
Yeah, so our injury report is pretty clean overall in terms of the active roster. Obviously, we're missing some guys that are currently on injured reserve. The Chiefs have had a lot of injuries this year, particularly on offense. We lost Hollywood Brown in the preseason. He's obviously not going to play. He's on IR. Rashee Rice is out for the foreseeable future. He's on injured reserve. And Isaiah Pacheco at running back is also on injured reserve. So you won't see those guys on the injury report, but those are significant losses that the Chiefs have had to deal with here in recent weeks and will have to face once again on Sunday. A couple guys that are banged up right now. Defensive end Mike Dana, who's one of our rotational ends and a pretty versatile member of our defensive front. He hasn't practiced this week with a pectoral strain. We'll see if what Coach Reed says here in a few hours, but not sure if he's going to play. Then also wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster popped up on the injury report this week with a hamstring. He was a full participant on Wednesday, but then was limited on Thursday with that hamstring injury. So again, I'll hear from Coach Reed here in a few hours to see if he's going to play or not. But Juju is probably the biggest one to watch for us.
All right, thanks, Matt and Lindsay, for those updates. Now let's get into Sunday's contest. This rematch certainly adds extra excitement to the game. Lindsay, how are the 49ers feeling about facing the Chiefs again after an emotional overtime in Super Bowl 58? Is there a sense of urgency in the locker room, or is it just another game?
I would say there's definitely a sense of urgency, but perhaps not for the very obvious reason that, yes, this is a Super Bowl 58 rematch. And it's hard to not talk about that because it, happened earlier this year. Certainly a heartbreaker for the entire organization and the fan base. But when you look at this 2024 season, this is a crucial game for the 49ers because they have the opportunity to get back up over 500, continue to set themselves up and set themselves apart as you start getting into the middle part of the season. And I think that's really where the urgency is coming from rather than, let's make a statement win against the Chiefs. Obviously, no one's going to be upset about that. But again, I think it's more about zeroing in on this 2024 season, setting themselves up for success later in the year and continuing on the winning path. So I think it's a little bit different than what people might expect.
Definitely right. Now, Matt, how is Kansas City approaching this game after a week off? Tell us what the Chiefs' season has been like so far.
Yeah, well, we're 5-0, which is great. And I think we've shown a lot of resiliency this year. I mentioned those injuries earlier. This isn't quite the team, particularly on offense, that we thought we'd have in terms of players that are out there on the field. But despite those losses, they found a way to be 5-0. And we've beaten some good teams. Great win against the Ravens in week 1, beat the Bengals, who have been kind of our nemesis over the years, in week 2. Beat the Falcons on the road, beat the Saints last week, and have a divisional win on the road over the Chargers. So going into this game, I'd kind of echo what Lindsay said. I don't necessarily think it being a Super Bowl rematch has been talked about much. I think it's more from the Chiefs' perspective, two great teams playing each other. And Patrick Mahomes said that earlier this week, that he loves to go against the best, and the 49ers have been the top dog in the NFC for a while now, and he always enjoys playing the best competition. So I think it's a great game between two great teams, and that's what we're like looking at it as, less a Super Bowl rematch, more a great game between two great teams.
Yeah, great perspective from both sides. Now, Lindsay, looking ahead to Sunday, as San Francisco's offense comes off a stellar performance in Thursday Night Football, what do you see as the biggest challenges for the 49ers against the Chiefs defense?
I mean, where do you want to start? This is a very, very stingy Chiefs defense that the 49ers are going to go up against. I think I'd really zero in on just the incredible success that the Chiefs corners have had, between Jalen Watson, Trent McDuffie. I think the 49ers are going to have their work cut out for them, in terms of just making sure that execution is really on point. And, one of the things that has kind of been the trends early in this 2024 season is that a lot of teams are playing man coverage on the Niners. So it's going to be on those wide receivers to create a lot of separation, make sure there's a lot of completions. But then you look at the rushing attack as well. The Chiefs defense has only allowed just under 90 yards a game in 2024. They're incredibly good against the run. The 49ers have had a lot of success on the ground, but right now, with Jordan Mason in a blue non-contact jersey, and again, we'll get his official status, it's going to be, the onus will be potentially on a rookie running back in Isaac Guerrero, also Patrick Taylor Jr. I expect to see them play a little bit more. And then, Jordan Mason as well, who's done an excellent job stepping in for Christian McCaffrey, who is on the injured reserve list. But it's going to take really good execution on the ground, through the air, in order to get a win against this very good Chiefs defense.
And Matt, what stands out to you about this year's Niners defense? What challenges do you anticipate the Chiefs may be having?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to thank Lindsay for her respect for the Chiefs defense, because I think at a national level, people hear Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and we're just all about offense here, which has kind of been the case. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are great, but his defense has been tremendous really for the last couple of years. They have not allowed 28 or more points to an opponent in 26 games. The last time they allowed 28 points was Super Bowl 57 against the Eagles. So our defense has been great, and another big challenge here against the Niners, but excited to see that matchup. For the 49ers defense facing the Chiefs offense has moved the ball this year. The issue has been red zone at times, and that was the issue for sure in week 5 against the Saints, because we had 460 yards of offense, and we operated in Saints territory on 8 of 9 possessions. Only had 26 points, though, and that's because we were 2 of 7 in the red zone. So I do think a lot of the pieces are there for the Chiefs to find offensive success this year. It's just been finishing drives has been kind of the problem at times. And finishing in the red zone against the 49ers, I think, will be the key for the Chiefs offensively.
We've got a pretty clear picture on the state of both teams now. Lindsay, what's it going to take for the 49ers to secure a victory against Kansas City this Sunday?
I think it's just playing 49ers football. This is a very physical, competitive team. I think making sure that you're not creating any unnecessary penalties. I think just playing clean football is going to be the key, right? You've obviously got a very talented quarterback on the other side, a very stout defense. So minimizing mistakes as much as possible and really just sticking to 49ers brand of football. I mean, it sounds a little bit like a cliche answer, but like Matt said earlier, these are two really good teams. So I think it is going to be a tight game. I don't anticipate it being, a crazy blowout. So I think it's going to be all about execution, playing clean football, playing physical. Depending on who's available on the 49ers side, it might take some bigger performances from younger players. So we'll see how it goes.
And Matt, finally, what do you believe are the keys to this week 7 matchup?
Well, it's funny when you're talking to 49ers and Chiefs people, because I would echo a lot of what Lindsay said. When the 49ers are playing their brand of football, they're very tough to beat. And I'd say the same for the Chiefs. When the Chiefs are playing their brand of football and not making mistakes that we don't normally see from them, they're also very difficult to beat. And I would say the key for the Chiefs is to go in and play Chiefs football, which generally they've done a good job of doing this year. And this game is interesting because there's a few best on best matchups that I think something has to give, and whoever can win in that area is probably going to win the game. We talked about the running game for San Francisco. They're great at running the football. The Chiefs have been great defensively against the run. the 49ers are great at creating big plays through the air and on the ground. Well, the Chiefs have limited big plays all year long. We've allowed, I think, the second fewest plays of 10 or more yards and 20 or more yards of any team in the NFL. So whoever can win in those areas, who can run the football, who can have the big plays, I think is going to win the game. And ultimately, I know both offenses have struggled in the red zone this year. Whoever finishes in the red zone is probably going to win the game. So it's a great matchup between two of the best teams in the NFL. I think the two best teams in the NFL over the last 5 years. It's always a good one whenever we play you guys, and should be another good one on Sunday.
Yep, it's shaping up to be an exciting Sunday at Levi's Stadium. Thank you, Matt, for joining us today. Don't forget to tune into the Chiefs versus 49ers game on Fox at 1:25 p.m. Pacific time this Sunday. Subscribe to First and 10 presented by Cisco for all of your 49ers updates and turn on the notifications for breaking news. Thanks for tuning in.